That line, Jay, is enough to convince me to not stream today. So, you did this. And my thing isn't showing up. There it is. Anyways. Only an hour and 45 minutes late for my own stream. Hey, oh wait, no. Anyways, hey, it's Poisson variants, your mathematical maestro and LaTeX linguist. Good night. Don't leave me. I want to figure out how to zoom in. I was able to zoom in on my other window. In here? Anyways, hi. Today I am doing... What am I doing? Today I am forgetting everything. Set up mixed signals. It's called a joke, sweetheart. It's called humor. What am I doing today? I already forgot what I'm doing today. 3 blue, 1 brown, learning to animate math using the thing that he uses. The Python library that he uses. Hey, Koofty. Hey, Koofty. Welcome. Yes. Yes, I looked into the library he uses. And I learned that it was... How the flip do I get this to zoom in more? That it is a Python library. And so naturally I was like, oh, I know that. So we're going to do... We're going to try and go through some of the tutorials. The music feels loud. Try and go through some of the tutorials and get an idea of my start is so scuffed today. I am so out of it. I don't know what's happening to my brain. I started late and everything's fried. Gonna be coding, animating math with the code that he uses. Yes, come to Twitch, not on Twitch. You're welcome to follow me on my Twitch that I don't use. Couldn't C or C++. You're going to really. I don't really. My coding is honestly kind of minimal. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's situational. like I can do it. I do like numerical analysis and applied math and stuff in code. But it's like I don't program frequently on my own. Now, how about... Hold a minute, I need to... How to zoom in on VS Code. Okay, let's Google that. How to zoom in on VS Code. Oh. Ahem. Ah, right. That's right, I remembered. There we go. Okay, got it. Got it. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. I'm a genius. And I googled the answer, but I'm a genius. Yeah. Today we are messing around with Manim. Three blue, 1 brown uses Manim, and there's a community version and a personal version. Hey Jen, good to see you. No, Jen, no, I have not actually left the house, so no car today. Manim, and oh shit, sorry, oh crap. Manim, that's the one 3 blue, 1 brown uses, and what is with my brain today? Did I take my meds? Yes, I did. Going to call you 3 blue, 1 red. You're not wrong there. I feel like I got a good amount of red going. But no, I mean with the hair. Okay, fair enough. If we just focus on the toothpaste hair, then yeah. Just the toothpaste hair, then yeah, that's accurate. He has a few different versions, though. And those few different versions, he has a personalized version and a community run version that is not run by him, but the community one version is better maintained and created, and by his own recommendation, you should use the community version, which is the one that I will be using today. Whew. Whew. Okay, got all that out. Now that that's out of the way, I don't know why... Normally, maybe it's the fact that I start with... Maybe it's the fact that I normally start with an intro, and normally I'm not starting with an intro. Do I remind you? Do you mean remember you? The guy who doesn't spend money? That's a lot of people. Oh, I just glanced at the Discord. Yes, good to see you after so long. Welcome back. It's good to see you after quite a while. I do remember you. I do remember you. Okay. I will let my brain settle for a moment. Let me drink some water. I don't know why my brain's so fries. I don't know. There's something about today that I've just been, like I said, I've been spinning my wheels. I've just kind of like been doing nothing. I woke up really late. I've just like been so out of it. I've eaten. I just ate again right before stream. I stuffed a bunch of nice garlic and Parmesan green beans in my face. Good for the energy. Maybe it's normally at this time of the day I would have had a second dose of caffeine, and I have not. I've only had coffee today. And normally I would have also had like an energy drink or something if I was at work. You bedrod until 5:30. Aw. Jay, is your Despresso hitting hard? Is your Depresso hitting hard? Did you take your Depresso espresso today? Didn't even go to lunch. Have you eaten today? Because if you haven't eaten today, I would please ask that you go eat some food right now. How to beat depression is have the anime boy on the internet tell you to go and eat food, please. Please, 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 please. Food is important for survival and happiness. Food makes people happy, which is why stress eating is a thing. And also why people turn to sugar when they have to quit cigarettes. You had dinner? Okay, good. Good. That makes me happy. I'm glad to hear that. But tomorrow. I want you, if you would do me a solid. I don't know if you have classes tomorrow, but tomorrow, Jay, I ask that. And this is a request directly from an anime boy on the internet, so you gotta listen. I ask that you get up before noon and you go about your day, and you do not go back to bed until it is bedtime. A big request, perhaps, but it was a request. Sound like an old-timey movie, or like a 50s mobster. I'll do you in for a knuckle sandwich, I will, I'll tell you what. Tis my request, though. Okay. Whew. To help my brain get going a bit more, I'm going to grab some gum. So I can loudly chew it into the microphone. Alright, I have returned to loudly chew into the microphone. You can manage that? Okay, good. Good, good, good. Do me a solid. Do your Oshi a solid. If I were an idol, which I'm not. I don't think the Oshi term Oshi really applies. But imagine I'm an idol. And then you can do your Oshi that solid. Okay. Now it is time for drum roll. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Coding, programming. Gotta go. Thanks to you. Have a good night, Kuti. Good day, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. I'm gonna pick up a package from reception. The guy away from it, so I called the number they listed, and he told me, unfortunately, you're gonna have to wait until next week. But then I turned around, the dude was standing behind me. What? Pick up a wait. Pick up a package from reception. The guy was away from his desk, so you called the number they listed, told me. Oh, okay. Just right up in your face, just. Scary. Scary. I've had that happen where you're suddenly person. But it doesn't really happen to me at work because my head's always on a swivel at work, just in case. Just in case. Attorney at law. My funniest name for anything. His receptionist knows you. He's one of the receptionists who knows you. That's good. That's good to have a nice rapport with the local people who work in your dorm and whatnot. A chill dude, wish he would smoke further from the entrance. Ah, that sucks. Do they not have like smoking specific areas? I know where I went to uni. Yeah, there were certain areas where you could smoke, but that was it. Besides that, it was a no smoking campus. Were there? Yeah. I was like, there's no way. There's no way that no one on that campus... There's no way that people on that campus went off campus to smoke. And that's generally the case. There's those smoking only areas. They're generally like next to a bus stop or something. So feels like half the staff intentionally smoke in front of the no smoke. What are they gonna do? Fire me? Didn't smell like cigarettes and vapes. Oh yeah. I mean, if it's one of those like fruity, like Fruit Loops smell, like someone's got the you know, like Fruit Loops vape smell. That's not too bad. I don't mind the cigarette. For me, the cigarette smoke smell is nostalgic because my grandma would always smoke. But the cigarette stuck to things smell is horrible. Like, just now. You've seen the manager of your dorm do it? Oh my god. Do they have a manager you can ask? Do they have a manager that you can report them to? Because if so, then maybe it's time you reach out to that person and figure out smelling Fruit Loops is worth secondhand popcorn lung. I mean, just smelling it occasionally. It's like, yeah, if you're hanging out with someone who's always smoking, that's gonna be awful. Or vaping, that's gonna be awful. But if you just pass by, then again, this is coming from the VTuber that huffs bleach, so I don't know if that's if I'm the best advice person. Yeah, reporting in this England, the air is 50% vape smoke. Oh god. Is that a big, I don't know, I've never been. Is that a large problem in England? I mean smoking is a large problem everywhere, but be like complaining the sewers smell bad. Oh, okay. Not worth it then. Not worth it then. Why did I save that as unfriendled? What do I want to rename this to? People vacant smoke at the time the plaza in front of the library. Ugh, that's awful. That's awful. Does England just like not have a lot of smoking regulations? Well, you said there were no smoking signs. Are they just regulations that aren't enforced? I don't know what the enforcement would be. Probably just fines. I feel like that's a finable offense. No one's gonna get arrested for loitering. That's not true. No one's. Why did I say loitering? 18 plus and probably a cultural thing. That's true. It's like smoking to have conversations. The conversation will last exactly as long as a cigarette. And then, you know, you finish your cigarette and then you're like, all right, I don't have to talk to you anymore. And then walk away. I don't know. I don't smoke. Never have. But if I did, I would use it in that regard. Well. There we go. Okay. Don't think they do the rotten teeth on the packaging though. Oh, like in America? I think that's only some places though. I think that's only some places. I don't know. I don't know. Are smoke breaks mandatory? I don't. So I know where I am, breaks are mandatory. Like based off the time you work, like if you work more than 4 hours, more than 5 hours, you have a mandatory lunch break. Yeah, like you can't work 5 hours straight. You can work 4 hours straight without a lunch break, I think. And then if you work like 8 hours, you also get 2 15s, I think. And I don't know. I don't think smoke breaks are mandatory. I wonder if there's a culture surrounding smoke breaks just because if someone doesn't get that nicotine addiction, they'll be infinitely more difficult to work with. Which I suppose there's some merit to it from import. I'm sure that's somewhat the case. I know. Why is that still on base? That's wrong. Weird. Well, that one's on that, so that'll be fine. Whatever. At your all of one job, you had 2 15s and 1 lunch, but you could probably step out for smoke because it called the bathroom break in front of the boss. Well, so when I worked at a restaurant, people went on smoke breaks all the time, but we had no... This was a blatant violation of state law. But when I was... We were supposed to have, what is it, 2 15s and a lunch. And then the thing is, the only people who would actually get 15s were in fact the... Why is this reading this wrong? This is imported on here. It's because it's adamant that this is that, but I know it's not. It's telling me that that's right. Okay, one second while I try and boot this up again. I love VS Code being VS Code. It's an addiction, so it's not like they can tell you no. Is that how that... Is that how that works? Is that how that works? There we go. But no, we were supposed to have breaks, and we straight up didn't. People got smoke breaks. People got smoke breaks all the time. But no, it got to the point where Zero and I actually worked there together for a while, and one of our I guess whatever the US word for senpai would be, but one of our previous people, the people we worked under or looked up to, I guess, was like, you guys don't get smoke breaks because you don't smoke, but you're supposed to be getting breaks, so just go hang out, you know, take turns. Whenever you want to take a smoke break, go take 15 and just hang out in the walk-in or in the basement or something. And so we would do that. We would just be like, okay, I'm taking my 15. I'm taking my quote-unquote smoke break. That's what I would just call it. Be like, yeah, I'm on a smoke break, and then I would go and just sit in the basement on my phone for 10-15 minutes. No, but we straight up didn't get lunch breaks. There were several days where the only thing I ate the entire day in an 8-hour shift was a few chips. I remember there's a day, 8-hour shift, I ate 3 tortilla chips. So, you know, that was illegal as hell. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. That boss was something. Alright, let's see if this works well. I don't know if she still owns that restaurant, because I know she was looking to sell it at one point. But I don't know if she ever did. Oh wait, hold on. I don't think she ever did sell it, but I know she had been looking to. Or actually, for at one point, apparently she wanted to sell it to my sister, because my sister was the reason I got the job there. But oh, that's why it's called example, not example. But she didn't end up taking it because she didn't want to work in the restaurant, or like she didn't want to own a restaurant. Oh, Pat City, that's why. That probably affects something. Probably helps if you spell things correctly. Okay, it's rendering as like a MP4 file. That's kind of cool, but what if I wanted to render it as a GIF? Oh yeah, you guys can't see. Hold on a minute. FFmpeg. I mean, that is part of what it said, I think. I don't know the specifics. Is it dangerous if I show that? It actually might be the play. Main monitor. Don't want to do that just yet. No, not that one. I want to do that one. Yes. Yeah. All PNG files end with the byte sequence that at the end. I'm actually going to remove that. Is that true? I have no idea. You could be lying to me and you could get away with it, and I would never know. I would never know. Why did it make that visible? Alright, you guys get a second view of the thing that already exists. Jesus Christ. Make that invis. I love when my stuff functions according to plan. Oh man. I'll run this again. Wait, no, I'm not gonna run it again. I'm just gonna open up the MP4 file, which I assumed was, I assume it was created in the same. Oh no, they created a whole folder and thing for it. Oh, I can loop it. Okay, cool. Please. Look at that. Look at what we made. Look at that amazing little thing we made. You sit down there. Oh my god, you're perfect. Oh my god, Ivan. It'd be funny to just run this on loop in the corner the entire time. Okay, 1 second. Let's do that. Let's do that for no reason. I don't know why I would bother doing that, but let's do it. You spent 1.5 hours yesterday writing a PNG of one single black pixel by hand, by Jesus. What compels you to do something like that? What prompts you to do something like that? I'm genuinely curious. Is it just boredom? Or is it just like... Is it just curiosity? Which, commendable. Commendable as all heck. I just realized that at some point we stopped listening to Gwent. Alright. Excuse me for the snez. What am I doing? Alright, I wanted the circle or shape. Yeah. Oop. I wonder what that does. Recent, and then we're gonna loop this. What do you mean it's not in recent files? I was just using it. Create circle.mp4. Open file locations. Media. Videos. This. Copy file path. Jesus, this should not be so messy. And delete. I'm not asking you to play it, just find it. You. What the hell is this? Okay. 1 second while I bundle through my piles of folders to try and find something for no particular reason. Is this code? In theory, it's code. Why won't it let me it won't let me upload my little MP4 file. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I am... Oh, media source, that's why. This is animation. That's true. I guess that's the way to put it. We're coding animation. And you will see it when I actually... There we go. It didn't... You have to loop. Please loop. There you go. It just wasn't looping for some reason. This will be a constant update of what we've been able to get done so far. And that will just run in the corner for all eternity. Until we make something better. But yeah, bye Jen. I'll see you later. Alright. So let's understand what we're working with here a little bit. So what we've done is we've constructed, pretty simple, we've constructed a circle. The circle generates a circle. It's at half opacity, and we filled it to be pink. Technical difficulties? There was some, but now they are gone. Now we just have the loop in the corner. And then the construction plays the circle. All animations must reside within the construct method of a class derived from a scene. Okay, that makes sense. So in other words, if we want to play something, it has to be in the construct function that we generated right here. So now, let's create a new one. This new one is going to be called square to circle. Guess what it's going to do? If I can spell it correctly. It's going to take a square, and it's going to turn it into a... Okay, sorry. I don't know what just happened there. I'm okay. I'm okay. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. It's gonna go ahead and take... Oh, cool. I didn't mean to do that, but cool. We're gonna do the same thing where we generate a circle first. And then it's... I'm actually curious, how does it know how to properly, I guess, mathematically, it would see, try to uniformly shift something to be... Okay, so we go ahead and we do the same thing we did previously. Creates a circle. Then we want to generate a square. That square we're going to call square, and it's going to be of the class type square. Surprise, surprise. So, so then... Oh, this is cool. This is cool. So this'll do something fun. Oh, there's a built-in, I think it comes with the library, a built-in just pie? That's really cool. That's really cool. I think that comes from the library we're using, which makes sense because it's a math-based animation library, as I understand it. So you would have to use pi a lot, especially because pi allows you to create cycles, and cycles means you can animate something to loop or move pretty easily. So that's cool. I might just... Maybe I'll just start just importing this into all the code I'm writing so that I can just have instead of having to do like numpy.py, I can just be like... What do I do? Pi. I'll take it. I'll take it. All right. So now comes the part where we, again, have to animate all of our stuff. So we create the square, and then we're going to transform the square into the circle. If I can spell circle correctly. Every time I've tried to spell circle so far this stream, it's failed horribly. And then, ooh, you have tons of little stuff to play with. And I'm assuming all this pi, yes, pi. That type of pi, definitely. I'm assuming a lot of the terminology is going to be the same as it is in like video editing, so I'm accidentally prepared for this. Cool. So this is interesting. So even though I've transformed, so we've created the object square, and even though I've transformed square into circle, I've transformed square into circle. When I do the fade out, I would still refer to the fade out as square. That's my initial object still. That's interesting. So let's take a look at what we make. So we're gonna call the function square to a circle. Circle. Why can I not spell circle today? Or we're gonna go ahead and loop that. Here's... Okay. So that's what we just made. It looks very pretty because... So that rotation we did offset it at the beginning. It offset it to be 45 degrees off of what it would normally be. But alternatively, if we do actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and comment out that whole line. If we were to run that again, let's see what it looks like without the rotation. Draws the square, and then it shifts. Loop it. That's cool. That's cool. It interpolates and just like, wow, kind of step by step shifts. What other shapes can we mess with? Set it to 6, as in pi over 6. That would be, oh, that's gonna look gross because it's not gonna be a clean. Okay, yeah, let's do that though. Because the angle is gonna be like, yeah, it's slightly, it's not like lined up on a quarter at all. That's fun. That's fun. But now I'm curious about something else. What more can I do with my rotations? Can I go like... Is rotate an option? We're gonna rotate square. And we're gonna rotate it... Oh yeah, we can rotate by an angle. Pi over... And then just do shift pi over 4. Oh, you know what we could do? I know what we could do. We could shift it by pi. Like 2 pi. And just do it like that. Do 2 times pi. So it'll do a full spin. Let's see if this works how I think it'll work. If it does, then what it'll do is it'll do a full rotation and then shift. Or then transform. That's so cool. So then, and alternatively, I could set it to be like, oh, it does a negative. If I want to spin the other way. It should at least. Let me see. I think that was spinning in the opposite direction. I don't remember. I already forgot. You know, it would be a way to check. I just had this idea. let's go ahead and check it. Can I set... If I have it create two different square objects... I think I would have to manually generate a second square, be like square 2. And this isn't going to be different at all. Then we're going to rotate this one positive and the other one negative, see if they spin in opposite directions, and see if that does, in fact, happen as I want it to. And then we'll just have one square transform. I don't really care. Let's have both. Let's have both. Let's have both squares transform. Why not? For the sake of consistency, we're going to... Alright. So that should do... Let's see what happens. I want to see if they appear next to each other, or if they just appear on top of each other. Oh, and also they're gonna fade in. I don't know. What do I have access to besides like fades in play? Can I do like dissolve? Nope. Add it. Nope. Blur. Blink. I don't know. Like a slide in. So are they gonna rotate? Okay, that was pretty cool. That was not what I was trying to do, because I accidentally rotated it one way and then the other. One second. Sorry, sneezing much. So I accidentally did square 1 and then square 2. Or I did square 1 just so it rotated twice. So what if I want the animations to play at the same time? So it draws one, then it spins the other way. Boom, boom. What if... No, what if I want them to draw at the same time, though? Do I create a list, I wonder? It's like you stepped across your cake this small. No, I sneezed, but I like buried my face in my hoodie in order to hide the shame of a sneeze. As we know, sneezes are the most shameful of actions for the years. The 1800s or something. Okay, so what if I want to create them at the same time? Can I do this? And he works for VMO objects. Okay, fair enough. Real idols. Don't sneeze, use the bathroom, get married, eat. Thank God I am not a real idol then, or even a fake idol. I'm just some nerd who uses an anime avatar. Therefore, I am invincible. Alright, so what if I want to generate two things to play at the same time then? First, it's teaching me about positioning. Oh! Oh, you just do this. You just do this. You just do this. Okay. Oh, this is cool. I'm learning so much cool stuff. Okay. So then if I want the rotations... Okay, so it's just anything that I have play, you just say, oh, I want this thing to play at the same time as this other thing. This is cool. Ooh. Fade transform. I wonder how this works. Can I have it, if I fade transform, can I have it turn it back into what it was and then have it fade out at the end? What are the rules behind those? Yeah, I just made a golden represent the new gods. So real idols also just don't move too, because they're literally stationary. Oh, let's fill the square. You know, I forgot that we even could do that. Square, set fill. Be orange. We're gonna have 0 opacity on it. Or we're gonna have, I guess that'd be 100% opacity. This one is going to be blue. So then, oh, and I also want to move this stuff around. So how would I do that? Would I do like square to next to square to, square doesn't even look like a word to me anymore. It's to the right of it, and we buff 0.5. All right, let's run this biscuit and see what happens. Real idols transfer divine power from the astral plane to be harvested and weaponized by the faithful. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Look how cool that looks! Look how cool that looks! I have to up the opacity though. So the opacity default, it seems, is 0. So we're gonna set that one to be 1.0, and we're gonna set this one to be opacity for 0.75. All right, let's see it again. That's so cool! Now you to explain differential calculus. We're still getting there, Jay. We're still getting there. We're making shapes right now. We haven't even figured out how to make our graphs yet. I'm just having fun. Ooh. But I wonder if so I'm guessing that this feels, I want to make I want to get back into FF14 rating just so I can make a guide using these just for a raid group. All right, that's just gonna let them. Oh wait, hold on, let me change something. I don't know. Stop making up having fun, start making content. Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Okay. Can I minimize this but still no, okay. Let me open this as just a file. Have a good night, Jay. Thanks for stopping by. I'm gonna open this as just a media source and get a good night's sleep, okay? Give me animation loop. Gonna loop. And I'm going to have this running in the corner because it's fun. And it's gonna sit right below that. So when I make a new one, it'll be blocked out. Cool. The text that uses 4 different styles of fonts in a Maxor video. All right. Ooh, now it's trying to teach me about the animate syntax. Using animate. Method that animates changes you to an object. When you prepend animate to object that calls a mobject. The fact that it's called a mobject is so funny to me. The method becomes an animation which can be played using self.play. Let's return to the square to circle to see differences between using methods create an object and animating those methods also using animate. Oh. Ooh. Well, so previously I had just done. So I had created the square, and then I had done these rotations on it. Let's block this out. Let's change this rotate to just a... Okay. Square dot animate dot rotate. And then pi over 6 is what it was rotating as. So this time it won't spawn in at the shift. What it'll do is, well, one of them is spinning like crazy. So watch, see how they both spin in opposite directions? But now what it'll do is one of them will spin like crazy. One of them will just shift to the side to be a bit different. Boom. And then they'll overlap. So it goes boom. One shifts a little bit while the other one spins. Then they both fade into that circle. That's so cool. That's so cool. I love the fact that I'm able to do that. So instead of creating a circle with already or instead of creating an object that's already shifted offwards, I can animate and then rotate. Or I could go ahead and define this rotate after the spawn happens. I don't know what the difference would be. Maybe there is a long-term difference. Because I can still do this. I can do square2 dot animate dot rotate, and then -2 pi. So ultimately this would do the same thing, but I'm like, it should do the same thing. Oh no! So, okay, that's the difference. So when I rotate it, it goes through the animation as if the shift were the shift were needing to happen. If I just do this, it doesn't bother doing the shift, or it does the shift in the sense that the shift is already there. It shifts until it reaches whatever position it's defined as. Whereas when I define rotate, it will automatically do the rotation no matter what. So that's the difference. If you use animate to rotate, then it will shift until it is at that coordinate. If you just do rotate, it will do the motion. That's cool. Because alternatively, if I were to do pi over 4, and the pi has to be capital, then we'll see that in action, and it will actively boom. So see what it just did there. They shift both, and then boom. So I'm actually going to keep this as different because I do like that one of them spinning. So what this also means, though, is that if I want to define a new circle, or if I wonder if there's a way to define. So instead of that overlapping there, let me pause when I get it to the. So instead of this shifting over here, I wonder if there's an easy way besides defining a new circle as a whole to just have this blue one shift into being the same type of circle, but still to the right. So let's look at that. Let's see if we can figure that out without messing with the tutorial at all. Because if so, that'd be pretty fun. Big stretch, big stretch. This is, I immediately jumped away from the tutorial that they were supposed to do, or that they were telling me to do. I immediately got distracted. So, but I don't care. I'm having more fun playing with it anyways. So what was I trying to do again? I wanted it to see if I could shift from the... Okay. I wanted to see if I can shift... Music? Hollow Knight. Since I've been playing Hollow Knight, or I played Hollow Knight yesterday, seems fitting to shift into Hollow Knight. Now, is there an easy way to do what I just said? When I do this fade transform from square 2 to square 2. Ah. Is there a way to do this? So I transform from square to circle, square to circle. Oh. Does this work? This is not exactly what I was going for, but it's a question for a different question. Okay, it doesn't like that. So I would have to predefine a square 3, I think. If I wanted to return to what square 2 originally was, I think I would have to do this. As I understand it. Is this the case? Where essentially, I would have to define another square that's exactly the same as the first square that I turn back into. Yep. Boom. Boom. So with that in mind, if I wanted to become this circle would have to be next to a square right with the same buffer. Man, this music sure sounds depressing, huh? Let's check it out. Square 3 is not defined. Oh, oops. Oh, and that's still set as circle. I want circle 2. Ah! 2. There we go. Okay. So then I set this to be circle 2 as well. Boom. Okay. So, oh, no. So what I wanted it to do was actually that. Ooh, that's what I could do. That's what I could do. Okay. How to mess with all of your toys. Because then I want square 3 to be square 3 to be square 3. Oops, that's supposed to be square 3. Okay. Label. What happened there? Wait, what happened there at the end? Oh, boink. And that just appears at the end, what? Oh, fade out square too. That's why, because this part's still there. That's why. It's from square 2 into circle 2. Oh, square 2 into square 3. So for labeling stuff, I guess it would be best to label them then as starting points and end points instead of based off the shape that they are. I think that would make more sense. Because you're like, oh, this is starting item 1, this is starting item 2, and then you can follow through the chain without getting lost in the same way I'm getting lost of going from square 2 to circle 2 to square 2 to square 3, because ultimately the object is called square 2. So instead actually just calling them object 1 and object 2, and then say, oh, I'm transforming them based off this shape, I'm rotating them based off this shape, but ultimately we're still changing this particular object. And then use the terms squares, circles, rectangle, triangle, etc. as a reference for transformations instead of as a reference for the object themselves. In summary, you treat everything that's topologically the same as topologically the same. No, but if you treat it as a topology, this is a space. This is a space, and I'm going to shift the space based off of what's happening in the transformation, and the transformation would be the name of a shape, quote unquote. You're half asleep, what's up? We are learning how to animate. We're learning how to do some very basic shape-based mathematical animations. Ooh. Excuse me. Now the real question is, how? Ooh. Ooh, I just saw more ways to do changes up here. What can we mess with it? What can we mess with? So we define, so if we look at, I'm gonna use square 1 as an example. Oops. So if we look at square 1, we define it as a square. The word square doesn't even look like a word anymore because I've written it so many times already. So if we look at square 1, or just square, what can we do with it? We can... Oh. So we can do like color. And then here I had the orange, so I can get rid of that. Fill opacity, or is it just called... No, it should be called fill opacity. And that was at 1.0. Shift 2 times... Oh, what? So I'm very curious, what does this shift times 2 to the left do? Oh, I think I should know exactly what that does. Let's run it. It's gonna shift it 2 times 2 to the left. Whatever we consider 1. Draws the squares, rotates them. Whoop. So that's all good and dandy. I guess the interesting thing to me is that it's not shifted at all. It's cool, though, that I can define all this stuff internally beforehand. So I can also... Can I do this? Can I also define my rotation up here? So that would be cool. And just a bit cleaner for myself. Is it fine with me doing that? No, it doesn't like that. Okay. Those are only 2 songs in Hollow Knight? What the heck? Borderlands 2 ambience. Let's go. Alright, so if I run this now, what happens? I was not paying attention at all. Oh, a minute, I need to expand. Okay. Oh. So what's it doing there? Okay, so I've shifted a bit to that's so cool. So I've shifted my square a bit to the left, but my right square is automatically determined to be. But now we've lost the border on this one. Why is that? Is it because I set the opacity to max? So if I set the opacity here to 0.75, will that then give me back a border? Because it's the fill opacity? Yes, it does. Cool. Very cool. So then, why have they ended up... Why do they finish on a Venn diagram there? Let's find out. So they finish on a Venn diagram. Square 3 is to the right of square. Slash to the right of square. Circle is to the right of square. Circle 2 is right of square. Square is shifted. So what do we end on? We end on square next to square. We end with... See, this is why you should name them Object 1 and Object 2, and then the transformations based off of that, so then you can just follow the through line. If they end it, so the fade transform happens there. I want circle 2 to be more to the right of circle 1, not of square. So if I do this, then after the transformation happens, will they end up then no longer as a Venn diagram, but instead next to each other? There we go. Oh, check that out. Spins, boom, and then shifts over. Okay. Again, this just makes me want to make Final Fantasy XIV a raid. Raid stuff. That's so cool. That's so cool. Hold on, Zero sent me a Zero doesn't watch any wrestling, but she just sent me a wrestling clip, so I'm gonna have to watch this real quick. Yeah. Yeah, that's because wrestling is so cool. Yes. Oh, right, there's no AEW shard. Show tomorrow. I'm excited. I'm very excited. Okay, so I think I got the gist of how the basics work when it comes to movement and transformations and stuff. So now, oh, there is something I want to figure out how to do. There is something I want to figure out how to do. How do I... Oh, so the issue I was having with the following the through line, defining one as a process, or one as an object, and then one is the shape as a transformation. Turns out there's a solution for that, or exactly that, and it's this: the replacement transform. The replacement transform fully changes it into whatever object it is supposed to be, instead of referencing the object. So we're not following, oh, what it was or what it started out as. We are specifically following what the object has become. So the difference becomes when I do a replacement transform and I change from the object square to the object circle, then my fade out happens on circle. Whereas if I do a transform and then switch from here to here, then I have to say fade transform from square 2 because that was my quote-unquote starting object. But in reality, what my object is in the form of now is circle 2. So even if I were to run this, this would look exactly the same as what I just did, but it's ultimately easier to follow. Cool. Wow. Oh, and that also allows you to no longer have to multiply define things. So if I can get rid of square 3 in its entirety, because I want square 3. I don't care about square 3. Let's replacement transform. The square 3 no longer exists. Or square 3 was just a copy of square 2. So if that's the case, then I can take the now object circle 2 and transform it over into square 2. But now the question becomes, what if I want to, is there an easy way to shift square 2 from in here? Can I do it in the same play, in the same animation? Where now, because square 2 started out as being shifted to the right, what if I want to now shift it to nothing? What if I want to do square 2, animate, next to? Let's see if this works. So what in theory this should do is when we fade out on the circle and we do this fade transform from circle 2 to square 2, I want to see if I can also then have square 2 shift over back to the middle base during that exact same animation. So it shifts. Oh. What happened there? Spooky. Oh wait, it's no longer square 2. Now it has to be circle 2. Oops. Because I did a replacement transform. Can I do a fade replace transform? No. I cannot. Dang. What if I just want it centered? Is centered an option? Just like center? Yep. That makes sense. I can't imagine something that makes you artistically do stuff and you don't have the ability to center something just on a whim. Zoom. Oh. Why does that happen? Why does that happen? Okay, so let's figure it out. So we generate square 1 and square 2. Square 1, we animate this rotation. Square 2, we perform the rotation. The animate rotation means it shifts to be this coordinate, whereas the rotation means it just happens. It does the spin. We do a replacement transform from square to circle and from square 2 to circle 2. We do a fade out on the first circle. We do a fade transform on there. But then we do this. Let's watch it one more time. I want a better understanding of what I'm playing with here. Boom. 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 So why does... So because it's happening at the same time, is there a way to move at the same time I'm doing this? Oh, there might be. Because I've defined square... Okay, maybe. So I've defined square 2 in a certain way. But can I then... This calls it to play that animation again, a second time. But that's not what I want to do. What I want to do is have the animation play on the specific circle 2 object. I do this. Is that valid? Oops. Is this valid? Oh. It was valid enough to run. Boom. There we go. What? Let's see. Boom. But it's not actually doing the last piece I want it to. Let me look at this again. Build. They do the spins. Move over. Slide in. But when it does the slide in, I want it to center again. Why is it not doing that? So, even though this is supposed to be a replacement transform, it seems to have decided that square 2 is now circle. And I feel pretty confident that the square is in fact not a circle. So how do we handle that? Is there an easy way to handle that? Is there a hard way to handle that? Because I was under the impression that replacement transform meant that I wasn't referencing the previous object. I was replacing it with a whole new object. And that the previous object still stays in whatever existence it was, or at least in the initial form it was. But judging by this, I was incorrect. I will consider this a success if we can figure out how to return to the initial version of square 2. Ugh. Oh. Ugh. The initial version of square 2. Maybe if we define it in a similar way that we defined this. So we set the color, Blue. Fill opacity. Fill opacity. 0.75. Next to square to the right at a buffer of 0.5. Does it come down to how we're defining this stuff? No, it's still maintaining that it's trying to stay as a circle. But I don't want it to be a circle. I don't want it to be a circle at all. So if that's the case, if I want it to turn into... If I want it to turn back into the old version... Hold on a second. Placement transform, on the other hand, literally replaces mob 1 on the scene with mob 2. But since it replaces... Can I take the original definition? I guess not. That's unfortunate. So if I wanted it to become... Well, then what's the point? Yeah, I thought the point of replacement was that I would then be able to switch out... Oh, I've defined square 2 to be this transformation. So if I ever want to return to the transformation that was square 2, boom. I would do it like that. But I guess not. I guess that's not too big of a problem, because the goal of this isn't to... The goal of this isn't necessarily to run through an entire video's worth of things in one class. The point of this is to define each scene. And when you define each scene, then you save each scene, and then you can run it from there. So if I want to return to a previous version, well, I'd be defining it. More than likely, I'd be defining a new scene for a new set of animations anyways. And if that's the case, then not a huge problem. Which, fair enough. Okay. So that's pretty cool, honestly. Just... Oh. That's cool. I never even considered this. Okay, let's define a brand new class. I'm just gonna call it multi-transforms. Okay, so again, we define, just as we did previously, our define construct. No. We're going to define a few different shapes. A generic A is, or just going to call circle. Circle is, actually, I wanted to start defining it as I was thinking of it. No, that'll actually work. Circle. Say circle, lowercase, is capital circle. Square, square. Triangle. Hitherto not been shown. So this adds it to the list of things that I have to do. Self.add, self.wait. So we throw a circle into the world, as I understand it. And then t in transform for t in, I'm just calling it t for transformation, square to triangle. Then you do self dot play transform. I don't like doing that though. I would prefer to use replacement transform, but this is a case where regular transform should work fine. We do circle the t. Circle, and then we apply our subsequent transformations. Multi-transforms. Needless to say, this could be applied in a myriad of ways. So go circle, boom, triangle, boom, circle, triangle. Cool. But as I was saying, this could be applied in a myriad of ways in the sense of just being able to generate a list of... So I noticed something too. If I want something to just appear, I can use this add. But what if I don't want it to appear? What if I want to draw it? In that case, I would do... If I want it to be drawn, then I would go ahead and draw this circle. Oops, terminal, right? Let's have a look at this. So we draw, we wait for a second, and then we do a double transform. What? Boom, boom. Awesome! Very easy. This is really, really intuitive. Like, I didn't expect it to be this simple. Now, one thing I do worry about, the black background. When it comes to editing, I'd have to test that. If there's nothing else that's black on the screen, that might be valid. That might be viable. I don't really know. I'd have to ask my brother. He has a degree in film. He'll probably know about this. He knows how to edit. I do not. I kind of do. I bumble it together enough to make shorts and nonsense. Speaking of, I need to keep editing my next video. It's stupid! Anyways, with that in mind, is the black background going to cause me problems? Is there a way that in this I can, excuse me, get rid of the black background? I don't know. Is there a way to circumvent that in editing itself? Probably. But again, not sure. What language am I using? Python. Yeah. This is the Manim Python library. This is the community upheld version that's like 3 blue 1 brown uses for animating his math videos. And guess what? I'm stealing it. Now the real thing, I want to know how to do fun stuff. So there's all this stuff about like placing these objects and whatnot. That's all great. What if I want to make a distribution? What if I want to make... So I know that he actually has a video on how he does all of his animation. But you're welcome. He has a video on how he does all of his animation, and I kind of want to check it out. Or I have it actually bookmarked. It's sitting on my bookmark manager. But he uses a slightly different version than the community version. His own version. Oh, hello. Object order. Oh, there's a lot of cool stuff. Building blocks. I want to know. Yeah, so we have like all these ways we can animate and whatnot. Oh, this is cool. I want to check this out. Okay. We're going to mess around with this. It's essentially going to be a copy-paste, but if I can know how it all works, I'm willing to copy and paste. But I'm going to type it all out, of course. Out. Animation. So interesting. The input of animation versus scene seems to be different. I'm not entirely sure what the difference is. Okay. So I think this is a custom-made animation. Okay. Self. Number. Decimal number. Start. Gonna be a float. And its end is also gonna be a float, because what I want to do here is I'm trying to create something that will essentially count from a start value to a 0 value, like it's going up at a decimal value. Orgs. Oops. Okay. So we want to start by passing number. This music makes me want to go and play some Borderlands. And then we want to define our start value and our end value. Which, nope, start, the usual, self.end equals end. Okay. My nose is so itchy. Why is my nose so itchy? Alright, so then we want to define interpolate, nope, interpolate object. I call it mobject. Interpolate the mobject. Self, take an alpha, and we want this alpha to be a float value as well. Because guess what? We want to be doing, as I understand it, basically I only want it shifting through floating point values. I don't want it to try and just like shift through integers. So that when I'm doing the count from 0 to 100, it's counting by decimal place. Alright. So, our value, which... Okay, value equals self.start. And then we're going to be adding self. This is where we jump from number to number. Self.rate function by our alpha, which is our growth rate, times self.end minus self.start. Okay. Minus self.start. I think I forgot. Nope. Oh, that's... I was like... I knew I forgot thing somewhere. Ooh, there we go. Alright, so what is this doing? So, our new value is going to take our starting value. We're going to add on our growth rate function, which is changing from one value to the next, times the difference between our end and our start. In other words, this makes it so that our growth happens consistently. Our growth from our starting value to our ending value doesn't happen at an exponential rate. It is entirely defined off of our two values, but we want our current value to also take into it. So like that's what this is. The rate is going to be consistent based off of our starting and end values. This ensures that it keeps adding to the number. we start at whatever our starting value should be. Okay, and then over here, self, excuse me, self dot object dot set value is going to be that value that we just defined a moment ago. Bada bingus, bada boombus. Cool. Cool beans. Koala beans. Alright, so that defines the animation, the custom animation that we've just made. So now we want to make the actual counting happen itself. So we're just going to call that the counting scene. And this is going to be our scene itself. This is the thing that's going to be playing. Previously, okay, so I wasn't sure about the difference between the definitions of the input being animation versus scene. I figured it out just now, in fact. Animation is like defining a function, a series of functions, an action that we are then going to call from a scene. A scene is the thing that will actually play, that we'll see play. So let's go ahead and construct it. We define a construct like normal. All right, so our number is going to be decimal number. We get to set the color. Setting the color, I wish I could set it based off that, but we'll do red for yours truly. Set the scale. 5 is good. Then we want to number, add updater. Define a lambda function here, so we don't have to define anything too crazy. And what it's going to do is it's going to take number, and it's going to move to origin. As I understand it, what that's going to do is going to, I assume, keep recentering the number so that it does that like tiny bit of shift so that we're not like moving to the side a bunch. I have to learn to talk with my mouse instead of my hands. We're essentially, it stops us from staying stagnant and instead keeps everything close together visually, which is something that you end up, I know I end up catching those sorts of things if it's not done. So let's go ahead and add it. Oops. Self.add number. I didn't like that. Oh, because it has to be in the construct. Oops. Self.add. So we're adding the number. Gonna wait. That allows us the first number to appear, and then we're gonna take a second, and then it's gonna start adding. Self.play, and we're gonna go ahead and play our new animation, count. Our starting and ending values. So we're gonna have number, that'll be the thing that's gonna be changing, gonna be updating with our thing. We're gonna start with -100, and we're gonna go to 250. We'll say. All right, runtime, how fast we wanna do this in. We're gonna say that it's gonna take 10 seconds. And the rate function is going to be linear. All right, and then at the end, we're gonna wait one more time so that we can see that we've gotten to our final answer. All right, ready? Ready. Go ahead and play counting scene. First time using this, but it's actually pretty intuitive. Oh, what did I mess up on? Set color. Color equals red. Weird. Oh, oops. There we go. That was the problem. Okay. But now, first day using this library, and it's pretty intuitive, honestly. Okay, so it's generating right now. I think it's creating the animation, as I understand it. Doing it as a text file. Cool. Okay, writing. This is going very slowly to create this animation. There we go. There we go. All right, let's have a little bit. Ooh. Interesting. No. It made a mistake. It started out at 0. Should not have done that. But keeps going over the course of 10 seconds. 250. All right. So what do we make a mistake on? We made a mistake where it starts on 0 for some reason. Why does it start on 0? Hmm. Somewhere it's making this assumption that the starting point should be 0. I don't know where or why. And maybe this animation just doesn't like the concept of negative numbers, because that's wrong. When counting from -100 to 250, remember, start at 0. Okay. Simple, but cool. Okay. Why would it start at 0? What would prompt it start at 0, considering I've labeled those? The trouble of troubleshooting. Step 1, where to start? Oh, that's why. So in this, okay, that makes sense. When I create the decimal number, it inherently starts at 0. I don't necessarily want it to be starting at 0. So number, we're actually going to start at our -250. Or, sorry, -100. There we go. Give it a go. Now with multi-transforms. Okay, it ran the wrong thing, but I guess this animation gets to show up now for a second. Good job, squares. Counting. Gotta redefine that animation again. Oh, what happened there? Its centering was very interesting there. You see how that centering happened? So it started with a -100. We're holding, and then it jumps. It centers based off the fact that I have that extra negative thrown in there. I think that causes a problem. So if I were to, in theory... In contrast, if I were to start at 0... Let's check that out. I think it has to do with what we're considering the origin, because it's updating to the origin. Now the real question is, when it hits 250, does it shift at all? It does. Ooh. Now why does that happen? It hits 250 and then it does this shift. I think it comes down to where the center of the coordinate system. It comes down to how it's defining move and what it considers the center of the coordinate system versus the center of the number itself. Because I think what it's defining the origin to be is the origin with respect to 0 until we're waiting. When we come down to this part where it says wait, it updates, of course. You know, it updates the origin. And I think it's because we have this lambda. We have a function where every time it's redefining the function with respect to the number, and so, boom, shifts over to this new 250 when we call this wait function. So, how do we get around this? How do we get around this? Move to the origin. I have no idea. Sorry, my life though. Okay. How does one... We could... I wonder if... Excuse me. I wonder if defining origin with respect... Oh! I think I got it. Is there a way? Maybe. Okay, maybe not. I may have jumped the gun on the excitement. Is there a way to define origin instead of surrounding, like, origin of a specific point? Like, it says move to the origin. Self-dot wait. I don't want the number to update, maybe? I wonder if I had an if statement or if that would throw things into a bit of turmoil. Would that lag things out if I add this if statement? Namely, if we do, if number It's a bit tough because we're not coming from the count animation. But just as an example, if number is less than 250, hit it. The thing is it treating number as an actual number, or is it treating number as an animation? And I think it's treating as an animation. I don't know. Let's find out. Hit the go button. Figured. Okay. If number is less than decimal number 250. What am I comparing those? Am I allowed to compare that? Dang. Okay. So that doesn't work. Fair enough. Fair enough. Oops. Okay, cool. If that doesn't work, oh! Got it. I think I got it. I think I got it. Center, not the origin of the number itself, but instead if we hit number and then hit move to, say this. Decimal number of 0. Oops. Where am I? Decimal number of 0. Can I do the origin from here? No, I can't. But I can do get center. Let's try this. So in theory, what this does instead shifts it to the in relation to the 0, 0 thing. So even if I start at -100, does the shift update correctly? Let's try. I guess I should try it with the 0, 0 first. Jump at the gun a bit. Let's find out. Update the animation. Wall of beans. Start at... Oop. Alright, that's... Okay. We're still centered around this idea of 0, 0. That's good. But then that happens. When it jumps to the end, why does it do that? I don't like that. I don't like that it recenters around that. Because if I were to just drop that weight... If I were to drop the idea of weighting entirely... Camptown racist, sing the song, dude. Or Camptown lady, what is it? It hits 250 and just ends. That creates a problem. So the weight has to be there if we want to actually see that we got to the answer we got to. Which, in theory, you do. You don't necessarily have to, but if you want to. That's stuck in my head now. Camp 10 races stuck in my head now. Awesome. Awesome. This isn't gonna be annoying at all. Camp Okay. Alright. So that didn't work. Data move to decimal number 0. Get center. I feel like the trick is using those coordinate systems, though. I just don't want the weight to move it. Gone around all night, gone around all day. Something. Because so, if I check the example they have, they don't have to account for that really. No, they just do number move to origin. Why does the shift happen for me at the end? You like my humming? Thank you. The anime boy humming. It's different sometimes. Why does that happen? I have no idea. Woo! Okay. Let's try shifting it about this. If instead I shifted about the 250, which is the ending spot, what happens? So we update the animation again. I love that it's like shaking. It's like it cannot contain itself. Again, there. See what it does? I wonder. Oh, idea. So this I'm gonna return to origin. Giving it your all. Yes. Thank you. I feel extra motivated. When people give me a thumbs up. Smash that like button. Kidding. So I wonder if instead of just waiting here, if I update it again, if I do like self, idea. Okay. Idea. Self dot move to. It'll do that. No, it likes that on the number. You like next to? Let's all do that the other one. Well, I've been doing this. I keep with my foot taking off and then like re-putting back on my sock, and I don't know why. It's been going on this whole time. I just like with my toes take off one of my socks, just one, and then put it back on. I don't know why I said ow. Well, no, it kind of hurt my ear, so I guess that's why. It hurt my like not ear, like eardrum. It was the sound based pain. Not necessarily the physical based pain. As if any pain is based. I don't know. Okay. What time is it? Okay, about a quarter till. I think just because it is a bit it is getting close to what I was originally gonna have end time be. But then I started extra late today. So it's actually past what end time was originally gonna be by almost an hour. I think I'm going to call it here for today. But we'll come back to this and play with this more, because I am having a ton of fun with this. But tomorrow we are doing more Project Euler, which, if you don't know what that is a bunch of math programming problems that are very challenging but fun to solve that I've been slowly making my way through, and I quite enjoy, and I hope you enjoy it as well. Anyways, I've been Poisson Variants, your mathematical maestro and LaTeX linguist. I will see you all next time. Thank you for watching, and bye bye. Voice crack. Voice crack. Bye bye.